Hello, gossiper Sharoni here. So, Hollywood. Hollywood is in a category of its own, especially when it comes to dating. It's like they keep repeating each other's saliva and liquids and everything like that. It's like and their relationships it don't even last that long, right? But the reason why we're talking about this is because a comedian, his name is Chris Red, and he was on SNL, Saturday Night Live, and it's just coming out now that he has been dating Keenan Thompson, who is currently on SNL. His ex-wife, Christina Evangeline, I think her name is. And for one, Keenan is not someone I follow. So one, I didn't know he was married and that he was married to, this woman. But apparently Chris Reed, he was going through some pill issues. He was using pills. And I guess meeting her, she was there for him, support. So I'm going to let you hear Chris say it in his own words. His video is about 6 minutes and some change. But let me just do this quick read and then we're going to end it with Chris speaking. It says Chris Reed was in tears on IG this week, finally breaking silence on dating his pal Keenan Thompson's ex-wife, Christina Evangeline, saying the relationship started when she showed up for him during a rough chapter in his life and admitting he went through a rough time with pills. In Tuesday's video, Chris related while he was on SNL, he was dealing with some pill issues, brushing it off as nothing too crazy for my black A. But he confesses he was selling some to his castmates. So what kind of pill? As I said, we're going to let you hear him. Red cracked he'd never snitch on anyone, but then he got serious, admitting he was having panic attacks while people stood by and watched him spiral. He said Christina was the only one who stepped in, calling him out on his S and actually helping him deal with it. Chris, who was on the show from 2017 to 2022, said dating Christina was never the plan, stressing he's not that type to scheme on a friend or go after someone they once dated, calling it a very unique, nuanced situation that just unfolded. Still teary-eyed, Chris admitted the decision made him look awful, but says he and Keenan talked it through and agreed to keep their relationship with Christina under wraps for a full year. The truth came out in 2022. By then, Chris was already out at SNL, and Keenan filed for divorce that same year. Oh, so Keenan said that, go ahead, but you can't mention it until a year, right? And then all of a sudden he was let go from SNL. So is he saying that Keenan might have had something to do with him leaving? A source who worked with Chris on the show tells TMZ they were not sad to see Chris go. Wow. A second SNL source tells us nobody in the cast has ever heard of this allegation that he supplied cast members with pills. Back in the day, things were pretty crazy with some of the players, but the current cast is very clean. We've reached out to rep for SNL. So far, no word back. Whoa, so he's coming out saying that he also supplied people with pills. And there are a variety of pills. Which one exactly is he talking about? And to see that Keenan's wife was the only one that stood up for him. So how did they meet? Was she on set one day and they caught each other's eyes? He's friend with Keenan, so they would hang out every now and then. But still, if you see where it's heading in that direction, maybe it was time for you to, bow out. But when feelings are caught and, it sounds like it was strong, it's kind of hard to walk away, especially seeing that you're going through something and she was the only one to stand by him, allegedly, right? So the heart wants what it wants, which was someone riding for him when others won't. So yeah, we'll keep you posted. Again, did Keenan get him fired from SNL? And to hear the source says they were not sad to see him go, then when he was on those pills, he must have caused a ruckus on set, right? For them to say that. Anyways, do you think he's going to name names? So we're gonna go ahead and play his video. Take a listen.
What's going on, y'all? I'm not really one for resolutions and nothing like that, but I do have one that I'm gonna be leading with a lot more vulnerability and openness in my work, in my life, whether it's here on the internet, all my platforms and shit, or if it's on that stage, And in order to do that, I gotta really do that. So I wanted to address something that's kind of this, I guess, been around for a long time, about 4 or 5 years now, and but I've never addressed it. I know a lot of people talk about me dating Keenan Thompson's ex-wife, and how that came to be, and I'm gonna just tell it to you straight, man. It wasn't no plan. I saw everything that everybody said. Every single thing that everybody said, I saw it, And bottom line is, I'm not the type of person to scheme on a person. I'm not the type of person to even date somebody that like one of my homies has dated. This is a very unique, nuanced thing that happened. We were all cool. I was never like hitting on. It was never nothing crazy until it got crazy. Bottom line is, I while I was at the show, I had some pill issues. I had some pill problems. Nothing too crazy, but crazy for my black ass. And I was even selling some to the people, so some of my castmates. I'm not gonna snitch on y'all motherfuckers, man. But it was really funny to me that like I would be around on this shit, and people would talk shit about it and talk shit about me, and I would hear them because some of that Adderall shit got you fucking super hearing and shit, but wouldn't like help me. I would have panic attacks, wouldn't like be concerned about me and nothing, just would talk shit. And it was crazy how somebody would watch you destroy yourself. This lady was the only one to call me on my shit, help me with my shit. She helped me with my therapy journey, and she told me things about her life that made me look at a lot of people involved in it differently, and in that time we fell in love, man. And I felt bad from the start. It's always felt like an emotional double-edged sword for me because I really love everything me and Keenan did, bro. I really appreciated every piece of work that we put together. I think that we were a great team, and I hate doing something to somebody that I know would hurt them. No matter who they are, no matter what they've done, that's just not how I'm built. Like, I'm not built like that. I don't feel player for this shit at all, But I did choose love. And that's what this story is. And, it made me look terrible. It made me look terrible to people that I love. And, a lot of my fans. So I didn't know how to do this without doing this. I'm in therapy, nigga. So like, ever since I figured out that I'm more sad than angry, all my anger issues have turned into tears, nigga. Like, it's crazy, bro. But, to all the fans I disappointed, you know what I mean? Like, just know this was not something, I don't feel like a pimp. I don't feel cool about this at all, besides the fact that I found someone that makes me feel like I didn't even know what love was for real. And I just felt like I couldn't miss out on it. And love is not sensical. And me and him talked about it. And I'm not going to say, and we were cool and we continued to work for a year after we talked about it, and I remember it specifically being said, what, let's just keep this shit under wraps. And as soon as everybody found out, shit changed. But look, listen, this is the type of thing that, and you can have a conversation with a nigga about that shit, but she can switch on a dime. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this is so serious. And now that I'm in that kind of love, I understand, I understand it completely. I felt like there's probably outside of not doing this at all. There's different ways I could have went about this shit, and but I was in love and I was, and I was spiraling out, bro, and that's what happened. And then by the time everybody found out and the world found out, I was out of there from SNL, And so when I got punched in the face, which we will have jokes about that for sure at the show, most people who know me from back home would know that, I would be retaliating in a heartbeat, but not this time, bro. This time it felt like fair enough. Anyway, this wasn't meant for laughs. It's just meant for me to just put some narrative on something that a lot of folks is already talking about, but won't bring it up to me at all. I'm sorry for the people I disappointed with this. Just know it wasn't to be a dick. It felt like a love I couldn't miss out on it, and I had to shoot for it. And I've never put anything above my comedy and my work. But I felt like I couldn't move on to the next stage of this creatively without addressing this. So if you don't like seeing grown men cry about hard choices they made, this is going to suck for you as a video. This is going to suck to me to look back on. But 28th, caveat, New York City, I will be starting to address all of this. The whole show is not going to be about this, okay? The whole show is going to be about love. So you know what? I'm gonna have little sheets on the table. You tell me what you've given up for love. You tell me what you sacrificed for love once, and let's just talk about it together, whether it's good or bad, And I'll see you on the 28th at the caveat, baby. Peace.
What would you sacrifice for love? So, gossipers again, what are your thoughts?